Welcome everybody to another exciting edition of Omnibros Live here on the Omnibus Collectors Network. Another Wednesday show, Q&A, news talk, all that fun stuff. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I am joined by the awesome Comics Guy. How you doing, buddy?
Hey man, how's it going?
Doing okay. Hanging in there and making the most of it, and getting ready to talk about some random news topics that I pulled at the last minute before making the stream happen.
That sounds about right.
No. I remembered that everybody was excited about the Boba Fett show when we did the best of 2021, and we didn't even
Mhm.
mention anything about Boba Fett. So I'm like, I'll save it for later.
That sounds about right. Yeah, no, the Book of Boba Fett. I have not seen the second episode. I saw the first one. Um, but we'll get into and talk about what we saw and stuff like that later. But first off, little housekeeping, right?
Sorry, what was that?
First off, we got a little bit of housekeeping, right?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, it's having some
Very good.
technical hiccups here and there. I don't know if it's StreamYard. I don't know if it's me. Whatever it may be, it sucks, but it's not you guys' fault. Regardless, if you guys want to check out awesome books, awesome deals on books, and collected editions, you got to head on to our wonderful sponsor, making it possible for this show to keep on rolling by. That is, of course, InStockTrades.com, the official sponsor of Omnibros Live, your home for all things collected editions, whether it may be an omnibus, trade paperback, hardcover, epic collection, manga, uh, absolute editions, whatever it may be. You find it at InStockTrades.com. Up to 50 to even 60% off. Loyalty discounts tack on an extra 2% to that. If you order $50 or more, you get free shipping, wonderful packaging, great customer service, all that fun stuff at InStockTrades.com, the official sponsor of tonight's Omnibros Live on the Omnibus Collectors Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we always do it on Wednesdays. Let's talk a little bit about that Patreon. What you guys got cooking up?
Yeah, man. Patreon.com/Omnibros Live, where Gabe and I, actually, it is the first of the month. So I'm going to have to sit down with Gabe and we're going to have to knock out a specific date for us to sit down and do a Patreon hangout. It's kind of like what Gio and I are doing right now, but with you guys. That's for $5 a month, the price of a cup of coffee. You get to hang out with us and shoot the shit once a month on a Saturday for an hour or two. And, we just kind of take the conversation wherever it goes. And it does help us and it does support us. It's a little bit of extra cash in our pocket. So it's always welcome. And you can find that link down below in the description, guys. Please. It's always a good time. And you get the archive of all the stuff that we've done before. So it's a whole bunch
Oh,
of
yeah.
it's hours and hours of content that you guys haven't seen.
All right. Nice. So, with those plugs out of the way, I labeled three topics. We'll get into Boba Fett in a bit because I know people are excited to hear what we think about it. Just a couple random news stories that came out today uh,
Hmm.
from the Hollywood Reporter. This caught me by surprise. AMC Networks is buying Sentai Filmworks.
Hmm.
I don't know what to think of it. Let me share the article. This is random as hell. I mean, I understand why AMC would want to get into the anime market with
Right.
Sentai. Sentai distributes anime. They license anime for the US, and they also have their own streaming platform called High Dive, which doesn't have the biggest catalog compared to Funimation or Crunchyroll, but it's
Hmm.
still something that fans subscribe to and are a part of and all that stuff. Yeah, the deal includes the anime-focused High Dive subscription streaming service, and basically it goes on to talk about the two companies and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean they have Shutter, which I do not have that service, but I know it's about scary movies, right? Films. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Horror Center Shutter. There we go.
Right.
Uh,
I think you're correct. Yeah.
yeah. I have seen. IFC Films, AMC Plus. So they have a few stuff here and there on the streaming end, and now they're adding anime to the mix. They're going to compete against Crunchyroll, Hulu, Amazon Prime, among others. It's a little weird. I think of Sentai, the least I'm thinking of, oh, somebody like AMC is going to acquire them.
Right.
So
Um,
hopefully, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
my next question would be, does Warner Brothers and HBO and all that stuff, don't they own AMC, or am I wrong in that? Or am I thinking of another channel?
Let's Google that real quick for everybody. AMC is AMC Networks, right? Is
Mhm.
owned by. I don't see anything about WB unless I'm mistaken.
I'm probably thinking of something else then. I mean, yeah, it makes sense though, because a lot of companies are trying to dip. I mean, you really want to dip your toe right now, especially with anime being so popular and what it is, and it growing in popularity far more than what it was when we were kids. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, we had the anime boom where, you had Toonami and you had Adult Swim, and you had shows like Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball and stuff like that we've talked about and that we grew up on. But it's much more prevalent in kids today, say with my kid's age, who she's 10. And that's all the kids watch. All the kids love anime and
Hmm.
love even shows that we grew up on. They watch Naruto and they watch Dragon Ball and they love all that stuff and they love the obscure stuff. I mean, Jesus Christ, I think a few weeks ago I heard a kid talking about Yuri on Ice. I'm like, wow, okay, you guys
Oh,
watch
okay.
that. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's much different, man. It's much different. And it just behooves them, I think, to kind of jump in and dip their toe into this as much as they possibly can, because I think a lot of different companies are trying that. I mean, Netflix is trying to do original anime, and
Yeah. Um, James brings up a good point. I was going to mention this. Probably the way Sentai can keep up with Sony Funimation, now maybe they can get more licenses. That's always been the joke, unfortunately, that when it comes to licensing new anime each season, Sentai will get like one show, one or two new
yeah,
shows, while Crunchyroll, Funimation, Amazon occasionally or randomly, they'll get a couple dozens of the new stuff that's coming out. And Sentai has built a catalog of just like the bottom of the barrel stuff. And it's still good because they got stuff like Lupin the Third. As you can see here on the ad, the sixth season is going to air exclusively on High Dive. But you can see here the catalog is not the most impressive thing compared to Hulu, which shares their catalog with Funimation or Crunchyroll and stuff like that. But they're trying, and more anime available legally streaming is a good thing. So I'm not opposed to them. They
right.
also get some really random, not safe for work things, but that's not the conversation for today. I wouldn't be surprised in the future if we see a Walking Dead anime. I hope not. Please don't make that happen.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing how prevalent anime and the otaku culture has just become so mainstream lately, with even celebrities and basketball players and UFCs. Sports athletes embracing it and stuff like that. Just in the last few years, and it's mostly our generation kind of coming up, and we grew up with it, so it's not as uncommon. But man,
Hmm.
it's still crazy to me. It's still crazy seeing kids my kids' age talking about, like I said earlier, things like Yuri on Ice. I'm like, you watch Yuri on Ice? Jesus,
Yeah.
it's not exactly the most common anime for your age.
Yuri on Ice is a fairly high rated yaoi. Boys love, yeah, but still, it's a sports show. It's good.
I've
Um,
never seen it. I've heard good things.
yeah, the animation's wonderful, but I haven't.
Mhm.
It's just I'm not a fan of ice skating, so or
Yeah,
professional ice skating or whatever. So I passed on it. But yeah, to sort of post a topic on it because we don't have a lot of information, just sort of like the headline and uh, the CEO and stuff. Here's a quote: "We're thrilled by the acquisition, are excited to be a part of their growth strategy. This acquisition will not change Sentai's mission to deliver the most exciting anime content to audiences around the world." Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Fairly
It's all
standard stuff that everybody
it's all
says.
the same crap that they all say, man.
Yeah,
It's all the same.
I hope they don't change the image or the branding for the company because fans, we as nerds of like collected editions and Blu-rays and stuff, we like the brandings to stay the same. And
Mm-hmm.
Sentai, I like them, and even though they don't have the best stuff compared to other people, they're
Yeah,
still much needed in a world where now Crunchyroll and Funimation are merging next year, I think, into
yeah.
one service. We kind of need more diversity when it comes to streaming anime. So yeah,
So if so,
uh,
Crunchyroll and Funimation are streaming into. Does that include Hulu? Are they in the mix with that?
no, because well, Hulu, I don't know how it would work because Hulu, they partnered with Funimation to stream some of the titles. So now if the two of them are together, maybe the same shows will remain on Hulu. I don't know. We'll see. That's a good
Hmm.
question. Just what I need, another streaming service. High Dive, I tried it once, the free trial,
Yeah.
but again, the catalog was minuscule compared to like Crunchyroll, for example, which is
Right.
ingrained in everybody's mind. Like that's the if you want anime, that's the go-to place. But hopefully, yeah, it all works out because now they got the big monies because AMC owns them. So hopefully they
You
get
know,
more stuff.
you know what this kind of reminds me of, like this merging, and I'm a huge wrestling dork, so I don't know
Yeah.
if you used to be into it too much, but this kind of reminds me of the territory days, where before Vince McMahon bought them all out and merged everything together. Does that make sense? Where
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
before he merged everything together, it was just a bunch of different territories, and you had different small wrestling corporations, and then all of a sudden everything became WWF. This is what kind of
Hmm.
reminds me of that, where Crunchyroll and Funimation are merging. So now we're getting the WWF version of anime.
Yeah. Sentai has the best sales on their DVD and Blu-ray. Yes, I've bought Black Friday deals for Sentai. What was the show that I bought? Space Brothers. Each Blu-ray set I bought on sale, probably like in 2018, I think, for
Mhm.
$5 out of retail, which was 40. I'm like, yes, please, thank you. So each Black Friday, the go-to thing, if you're a DVD Blu-ray collector, you go to Sentai to check out their deals. I haven't done so in a while, but yeah,
Mhm.
they have a lot of cool sales. I have to say there is a small group, maybe age 35 to 38, that isn't into anime. From what I experienced, you have the old school like me, but the small group wasn't into it for some reason. I get it. Yeah, it's not gonna be for everybody, but
Yeah,
I'm a weeb. That's what I like. I like my anime.
yeah,
Um,
and there are guys like me that are more casual fans. I consider you a pretty hardcore fan of anime. You watch what you watch in the seasons, and you look forward to different stuff. Whereas
there's
I
a
just kind
whole
of ride
friggin' Billy shelf behind me of just the anime. But yeah,
whereas I kind of just ride the wave of like, oh no, you should check this out. It's really popular. It's actually really good, and I
yeah,
catch it.
it's my preferred genre of film and TV, like anime.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've been watching it since the '90s, but like super intense, probably since like 2003. Like watching as much as possible.
Were you one of those kids like in middle school and high school you'd catch the Toonami block late at night?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough to have seen almost all of the Toonami blogs
Wow.
because I remember when Toonami first started, but I wasn't too into it. But 2000s
Oh, I think you froze.
onwards, froze for a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
yeah, I remember watching almost all the Toonami vlogs back in the day.
Stuff like Inuyasha and all that stuff that would drop at 2 in the morning. Man, it's crazy. Oh, technical difficulties. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so looks like it's going to be another glitchy night. So I do apologize, gang. I tried to
My good.
solve the issues before going live, but it ain't working. Um,
Yeah.
it happens sometimes. The next thing, um, the next thing. Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. I thought this was really cool. I wanted to talk about it. This isn't really the gaming channel. There's a lot more channels out there that talk about this stuff, but I was super excited that at CES 2022, aside from all the new TVs and techie stuff from all the different companies, our favorite home arcade company, Arcade One Up, announced a bunch of cool stuff. Now, some people were upset. I disagree with their statements. I'll tell you why in a second. But they announced four new cabs here, or actually five, but the fifth one is not here. I saw it a couple minutes ago. So we're getting three legacy cabs, which are the new. You got the baseline, you got the legacies, and you have the upcoming Pro Series.
Hmm.
Now, the legacy is essentially like a 12 in one of the different companies. Like this one, as you can see here, Atari, Bandai Namco, and then Midway Legacy cab. So the Atari one will be themed after Centipede with 12 different games, or 14, sorry. Bandai Namco is doing the Pac Mania edition with a lot of Pac Man titles and some other stuff. And then the one a lot of people are excited for is the 30th anniversary edition of Mortal Kombat. Now, these are your standard arcade one up cabs, and this is unrelated to the Pro Series, which is, I think, just below the size of a real, genuine arcade cab. It's right there. Like maybe a cab will be 70 inches tall, and this is like 60 or 65 or something like that. But the first one
Hmm.
that they announced is Killer Instinct. Now, the controversy here is that this is already coming out in the smaller edition. What's the size of these things? I can't remember the scaling right now, but the basic edition is coming out this year, this summer. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we were so excited to get it, and now you pull this move, and there's a new edition, and I'm like, guys, this isn't new. This is technology and business
Yeah.
101. You see that every day with iPhones, with Android phones, with tablets and laptops and TVs. You always have your base editions, and they eventually do a pro edition, and it'll cost more. But the thing is, you're not obligated to buy them. Nobody's
Yeah.
obligating you. And I kind of get it if you had the original pre ordered and now you're upset because you want this one. But then again, are you willing to pay the price for a Pro Series? Because the Pro ain't cheap. We're talking $1,000 approximately for these Pro Series editions. Now, updated hap controls. It's up to scale with the original machine, as you can see here. It
Hmm.
comes with a stress mat. I don't know why we need that, but there you go. You can get a stress mat, so you can stand there for hours on end. The stool, I don't need a stool to play arcade games, but whatever.
Yeah.
The machine itself, as you can see, pretty large, and they did the T molding, and then it's the right size and shape and form to the original. New speakers and speaker grills. It does have online capabilities and online leaderboards and was it remote play or rankings or whatever tournaments, all that fun stuff, leaderboards. And the coolest thing to me, aside from the LEDs and the light up marquee and all that stuff, is the coin door. The coin door was introduced last year, and a lot of people like it. The first edition was like a decal, which whatever, kind of gimmicky. But then they did a plastic molding of it. You can see here in the picture, and
Huh.
it looks the genuine thing. The
Right.
next thing everybody was wondering was, why can't we press the button in the coin slot? And that's what they're finally doing. They got rid of the player one startup button, so now you have to press the coin door, the button, as if you were, putting quarters in. That is
That's cool.
amazing. I
That is
love that. So,
really cool. That's actually really cool.
so again, this is obviously, I mean, if you have the money and the space and all that stuff, go get it. But there will always be options because you got the partycades, which are like like bar top arcades. They're tinier. You
Hmm.
put them on top of your uh, well, barcades, in a bar,
Yeah.
on top of a table or whatever. And you have the regular editions, the smaller ones with or without the risers, the legacy editions, and now you have this line. So I really don't understand the obsession with certain people to get upset, like, oh, $1,000, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but you're not obligated to buy it. That's the thing.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna get them. I'm a huge fan, but it's out of my price range. But I do recognize
Yeah.
that it looks really awesome.
Hold on 1 second, baby.
Yeah.
Can I get $1,000? That's a no. All right, let's move on.
Damn, damn.
Yeah.
We need a new what were they called, the stimulus checks? We need a new one. Um, so this is a replica of the Killer Instinct, which is one of my favorite fighting games. Not my favorite, but still awesome. And it includes Killer Instinct 1 and 2, and as a bonus, Battletoads Arcade Edition and the 8-bit and 16-bit editions.
That is
So,
really, yeah.
yeah. Then a lot of people complain like too few games, but you're going for a more authentic look, sturdier material. It doesn't have a riser, obviously, because it's freaking huge.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you're paying a premium for it, but it looks like it's a premium machine, right? I mean, you said there's another level up above this?
No, sorry. It's they have the arcade juniors. They have the
Okay.
regular smaller editions, then the legacy, which are 12 and ones, and now the pro series, which is going to be, I think, one every quarter. They're not going to go all out releasing like four different ones each quarter. I think it's
Yeah.
just going to be one. And so far, we have two announcements. We have Killer Instinct, and today it was revealed we're getting Golden Tee, which
Mm,
I'm not a fan of golf whatsoever, but sports video games are typically fun to play, so I don't mind
yeah.
it.
Is that the
I
one
don't know
with
if you
the
have you
white
played.
ball in the center and you roll it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get the picture here. Legacy Pro Series Arcade One Up.
You
Uh,
know,
yeah,
for $1,000, I don't think it's too bad of a deal considering what you're getting. I mean, I would like it to have more games on it, um, but I think the bigger issue will be the space because you just can't have a video game cabinet that big in most houses.
exactly. This would be like a man cave or a fan cave or
Hmm.
some type of cave. Golden Tee. Shoot, I can't find the Golden Tee. Let me check on Twitter because I know uh, some of the people I follow post all that stuff.
Although I think it might fit in my daughter's room.
I think everybody should own one of these arcade one-ups. You mod them, add a Raspberry Pi, and add like 1,000 games. That's what you got to do.
Is
But
it that hard to mod one of these things?
it's easy. Yeah,
Okay.
especially if you have one of the editions, the fighting game editions. So you already have the controllers. You would need the Raspberry Pi and
Hmm.
the USB encoders and all that stuff. That's easy. You can look up videos on it, and you need
Okay.
to change the screen to HDMI with an adapter, and you're good to
Hmm.
go. It's not hard.
Huh. Okay.
Give me a second, gang. I'm looking on Twitter right now. So while I look for the Golden Tee image, I wanted to go over these real quick. This is fun to me. The Mortal Kombat one, even though I'm more of a Street Fighter guy, this I love the look of it. It's missing Johnny Cage, but that's out of legal reasons. They cannot
Hmm.
do that, or else they would be looking at a massive lawsuit
Wow.
because the actor's image and all that stuff. So you only get the dragon. The original cab had Johnny Cage. I think it was throwing either a punch or a kick or whatever, and the dragon. So they had to remove that. And as you can see in the image, they fixed the controller deck and all that stuff. It's a lot more authentic now, and I think it just looks great overall. This one has da-da-da, 14 titles. It has Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and
Damn.
then it's midway. It shares other titles: Tubin, Rampage, Joust, Wizard of Waz, Gauntlet, Root Beer Tapper, Defender, Bubbles, Paperboy, and Plax. I'm
See,
not the
this is
biggest midway fan, but it's fun.
I think this is pretty good. $1,000 again.
No, no, this is the legacy editions will probably be around the 500, 600 bucks.
Baby, can I get $500? Okay, that's a no.
Early, think about it for your birthday, early birthday present.
Hey.
Yeah. You told me you liked the design for this one, the
You
aesthetic.
know, yeah, this is actually the aesthetic wise, this is probably my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
Just because I love Pac-Man. I was a huge Pac-Man kid growing up. Um, I like the Mortal Kombat one, but I do wish it just had the Johnny Cage on there. There's just a little bit of, I don't know, it's missing something. I thought it was kind of plain, you know?
Yeah. MK cabinet. Let me share the image of Johnny Cage, just in case. This is the. Oh wow, this is a pretty. Okay, this is a much better picture. Okay, copy. So this is the original. If you guys don't know, this was the original cap.
There it is. That's the
Yeah.
real deal right
So
there.
the actor and all that stuff. There's a lawsuit and
Uh,
legal stuff that you can't use that image. So that's why they went with the dragon just by itself.
it's missing. It's really missing.
Yeah. So the Pac Mania, to summarize, has 14 titles. Get ready, that's a lot of Pac Man here. Pac Mania, Pac Man, Pac and Pal, Super Pac Man, Pac Man, plus, Pac Man plus Pac Land. And then it moves on to other Bandai Namco games like
Ooh.
Galaxian, Galaga 88, sorry, Mappy, Dig Dug 2, Rompers, Rolling Thunder, and we always say Galaga, but it's supposed to be Galaga. I think it's the proper pronunciation, but we always say Galaga, but whatever. Saw a documentary on it.
Hmm.
And the Golden Tea, if I can friggin' copy, there we go. So this Golden Tea is pro size.
Wow.
This is one of the $1,000 ones. A little too white at the top, but it's a
Hmm.
Golden Tee golf game, guys. It's all right for what it is. So this has Golden Tee Classic, Golden Tee 2K, Golden Tee 99, 98, 97, Strata Bowling, which is awesome. Arcade bowling games are awesome. I highly recommend playing them if you haven't. Shuffle Shot and World Class Bowling. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
it sounds repetitive to have so many Golden Tee games. 97, 98, 99, 2000. But if you're a fan of that series, it's like SNK King of Fighters. Like, oh, the best one's 97. No, 96, 98, whatever.
I mean,
I'm okay.
Street Fighter fans are like that. Like, oh, Street Fighter 2 Turbo is like the best version of Street Fighter, and then there's the Street Fighter 4 fans and stuff. That's I never
Yep.
got that heavy into the series though.
It was a weird time where no DLC or internet existed for games, so they just had to make a brand new game for every upgrade. Now all of that stuff would be updates and DLC.
Pretty much, or games as a service.
Um, yeah, and this is the final one here for this topic, the Centipede edition for Atari Legacy. This is my favorite of the three.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to get one, I'd get this. This has 14 classic Atari games: Centipede, Millipede, Asteroids, Asteroids Deluxe, Major Havoc, Missile Command. Oh my gosh, AC R. I hope I said that right. Crystal Castles, Tempest, which is one of my all-time favorite arcade games, Gravitar, Liberator, Space Duel, the one-player version, Super Breakout, and another of my favorites, Lunar Lander. This is up my wheelhouse, and I love the design for Centipede. So this will be a tinier edition, like that. My suggestion, if you don't have the money, wait until there are clearance sales, and you'll get them for a lot less cheap.
I just got to figure how to get it into the house and hide it from the wife. That's it.
Oh, I like that.
Love you.
Don't reveal the strategy just yet, but keep
Yeah.
us informed.
No, I think it'll go well. I think it'll go pretty well.
I'll buy one if they do a Neo Geo Legacy. I don't think that's going to happen because Neo Geo is partnered with what was the company that they did a Neo Geo mini arcade replica? Unico. I think Unico still has the license for that, so I don't think it's going to happen from Arcade One Up, unfortunately. Neo Geo, SNK Samurai Showdown, World Heroes, Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, Metal Slug. Need I say more? Neo Geo's
Metal
awesome.
Slug. Metal Slug is awesome.
I spent way too many quarters on Missile Command. Missile Command's dope. I like that game.
Did so you grew up in Puerto Rico and you're a little bit older than me. Were there huge arcades in Puerto Rico? Do you know? Are there still
back in the
barcades?
day? Back in the day, yes. Now, I don't know if there's. Let me think. I know of one or two barcades currently,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the best hangout for arcades was Timeout. Yeah, Raphael, you know what's up. Timeout in the mall. Yeah, Timeout. I think it's still around. I don't know if I haven't. I have no idea if they're still around. Uh, the last time I visited Timeout, just for the hell of it, they had gotten the Fate Stay Night arcade game from Japan, and I thought that was so cool. As a weeb, I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, it's a Fate Stay Night arcade game, and I love Japanese arcades, so I was really excited about that. But I don't know
Mhm.
if it's still in business. I think so, maybe. But the arcade
Yeah,
scene died like everywhere else, so there's not a whole lot.
you know what though? At least in Orlando, the barcade scene is actually pretty popular. I can name off probably three or four just in the Orlando area alone. I don't know about here down here in Miami, but the
Yeah.
barcade thing is really popular over there, where you pay cover, which is usually about 5-10 bucks. You go in
Hmm.
and you can play all the games in there, and they have the arcade machines and for free. You don't have to pay the quarters and stuff like that. They're all set up for free because they know they're going to get you
That's
on
awesome.
drinks and food and stuff like that while you're in there. So,
Hmm. The one company that is keeping arcades alive these days is Raw Thrills. They're the ones
mhm.
that put out like the big, like the Halo arcade and Cruise and Blast and all that stuff. They have a couple new ones. Hope I can play someday. Let me share
Mhm.
that. And Raphael says, didn't they open a Dave and Buster's? Yeah, I think we have two Dave and Buster's, but I haven't gone to one yet.
Hmm.
I don't drink or anything, so it'd be kind of pointless. I'd just be in there, such a nerd. I'd be in there for the games only. Hey, do you want to socialize? No, I just want to play the game. Shut up.
Just leave me
Uh,
alone.
yeah. So Raw Thrills is coming out with King Kong
Wow.
of Skull Island arcade game. Minecraft Dungeons arcade. This looks awesome. I really would like to play that. And Nitro Trucks. I love racing games, but if I would always pick arcade racers instead of like the Forza and like the realistic ones on consoles. So this is exciting.
Hmm.
King Kong, man, that's awesome. Did you know that we had or not we? They made a Castlevania arcade game
Really?
where it's a first-person game, but instead of a gun, it's the whip, and the whip has
Ah,
a motion sensor crystal like the Wiimotes. So you're
yeah.
doing the action and you're striking the ghouls and monsters and stuff. And
Oh,
it's like one of those where you have to cover yourself with a like a fabric or something so you can see the
mhm.
screen. And
Yeah,
I think it was like a tattered rag or something like that. But it looks really cool.
that's cool. That reminds
Like
me
a,
of
yeah,
most people think Konami's out of, well, they pretty much are out of making video games and stuff like that, but what they're doing is pachinko machines like crazy in
yeah,
Japan. they,
yeah.
they are all in on the pachinko bar scene. And a few years ago, they did they basically remade a lot of the cutscenes for Metal Gear Solid 3, and they look gorgeous. They look
Nice.
absolutely stunning, but they're used for a pachinko machine.
Yeah, and they're considered indie because lately they've been featured a lot on the indie directs for Nintendo.
Hmm.
Because they're not doing a whole lot of games these days. They're just
No.
I don't know. They're worried. They're more into pachinko.
Yeah.
Shoot, I can't find the picture of the whip. Um,
I've never played Symphony of the Night as much as everybody says it's incredible.
I've I've played it, but I've never beaten the game. And
Mm.
now we're getting the limited run version of it. Oh, we got spam. Let me delete
Um,
that. Sorry, gang.
Sorry about that,
I'm
guys.
gonna, I'm gonna block these mofo's because they love us so much. They got to spam. Block. There we go.
Happens.
I can't delete that one. Just ignore it. Let me share this real quick. So, what was I saying? Limited Run. Limited Run is coming out with Symphony of the Night on PlayStation 4. And it's not because all the comment sections on Facebook and Twitter, it was just people saying, like, where's the Switch version? Where's the Switch version? And they even had to say, like, it's not up to us. It was the publisher. So it's only a PlayStation game. So yeah, no Symphony of the Night on Switch yet again, or Nintendo.
No.
Sorry. So
But
yeah, that's here's a picture by the way of the arcade machine.
they have quite a collection though of Castlevania games on the Switch, right?
Yeah, you can play the classic ones for shoot. I have it over here. I'll get it in a second. It has the first four games
Hmm.
plus the Kid Dracula spinoff that never out on the US,
Hmm.
and a bunch of other stuff with the Sega Genesis version of Castlevania Bloodlines, etc. And they recently released last year the Game Boy Advance edition of collection, sorry, which has the three GBA games in one.
Hmm.
I haven't gotten that yet because I'm waiting for the physical announcement, which I know is coming.
Yeah, it'll
But
probably be a limited
Symphony,
run.
yeah, we don't have Symphony of the Night or the other one, the one that was on. Name of that one? Castlevania
I don't know.
Rondo of Blood, I think it was. Requiem. I think it's Rondo of Blood. Yeah, Rondo of Blood came out in. My video game knowledge is failing me. What's that system? PC Engine. Thank you, Google. PC Engine. That was a PC Engine game, and we're finally getting it for the first time on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I I know it's not gonna match, but I do have a PlayStation, and I'm kind of thinking I'll pre-order the limited run game just to own it because I don't want to pay retro video game scalper money on Symphony of the Night. It's insane. The game, if you want to get the Black Label version for PS1, I think a new copy would go for close to $100, which is stupid for a PlayStation 1 game.
Well, I mean, it's like that with isn't the Black Label Final Fantasy VII going for some crazy amount of money as well?
It was, but not these days, I think.
Okay.
Let me check. See, 7 Black Label. Black Label typically goes for around 50 bucks.
Okay.
50 if it's complete in complete in box and all that stuff, you could see past 100. But for the most part, a lot of the listings that I'm looking at is just 50 to 100.
Yeah. Yeah, and for those of you that might be a little bit younger than us, what we mean by Black Label is, so back in the day during the PlayStation 1 era, they would come in disc, and like a disc case, and it would be a Black Label on the side. But once they sold enough and they were considered a greatest hits, they would replace that with a green label on the side, and it was one of the most hideous looking things. It's just gaudy as all hell.
Yep.
So a lot of times when collectors look for stuff like that, they go, well, we prefer a Black Label one because that's the original release.
Yeah. Black Labels. The only Final Fantasy game I have is Final Fantasy 9 Black Label for PS1.
Nice.
From back in the day. That was my first Final Fantasy game, by the way.
Oh my god, I just finished 9 last year during the pandemic. What a wonderful, weird game, but wonderful.
Yep.
It is so weird.
I gotta highlight this. We're going on a tangent, boys. Kryptonian, thank you for joining, by the way. Thank you, everybody. I didn't give a shout out. I just have to talk about this. You just bought Shin Godzilla on Blu-ray. I have no idea what to expect. I just want destruction. You're gonna get destruction, my dude. But be aware that the genius of Shin Godzilla is in Anno's critique of bureaucracy and government response and the political stuff. That's where the movie really shines. And obviously, you get a super deformed, radiated Godzilla who is horrifying to look at. So it brings it back to its 1954 roots, and it is just a spectacle. A lot of people were like super diehard classic Gogeta fans were upset about the design. I'm like, nah, man, this is dope. He's got a freaking long ass tail, different evolution stages, super radioactive, toxic beast with jaggedy teeth. It was awesome. It was a nightmare of a creature.
I loved the design. I loved the concept of it. It was something fresh. It was something new. And just seeing basically because it's a weird. I'm warning you right now. It's kind of weird when you first get into it, and watch it maybe more than once, because you're gonna be watching it the first time going, "What the fuck is going on with it?" It's weird, but the different evolution and the different stages that the Godzilla goes through, and then the final design, he looks badass when it all comes together towards the end. He looks fucking awesome, and I think I think he's one of the more powerful versions, if I'm not mistaken, of Godzilla that there have been.
Yeah.
Huge.
In the power scale, yeah, he's one of the strongest ones so far. Yeah. And he's just pure atomic energy in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And they play off the what was the city with the nuclear plant back in 2016, was it? The nuclear fallout in Japan. What was the?
I forgot.
Fukushima.
Forgot the name.
Fukushima. Yeah. So it plays blah, blah, blah. It plays off of that instead of like World War II and atomic bombings and all that stuff.
But it's fun. It's a fun movie, and I think you'll dig it a lot, man. Just go for the ride, honestly. Jess loved it. I know Jess saw it in theaters at the time, and he said he loved it.
Thanks for explaining, Lou. I had no idea what Black Label meant. I thought I was missing something. I never heard of that before, just bought the games. Plus, there was the long box editions, too. which didn't last long. It was like the super long box for the PlayStation. You remember those? I mean,
Vaguely.
let me share an image here.
Weren't the boxes basically just tissue paper though? They were pathetic.
Yeah, yeah. Here's an example of a long box.
Oh my god, yeah. Now I
Yeah,
remember.
flimsy cardboard and all that. Uh, but a lot of people like to collect those as well. The long box editions. They were similar
Wow.
to Sega Saturn and Sega CDs in stature.
The Sega CD cases. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, I do miss the old days where you got your game, you open it up, you can look at the back, you open up the game and you have the manual in it, and the manual kind of gives you details of what's going on in the world and some of the characters and stuff like that. I do think that there's something missing to that these days where we don't get that anymore. Just I wish more companies would throw that in. I know it's probably a reason, I don't know, I guess a waste reason or whatever that they don't do it or
Yeah.
trying to cut costs, but it is a little bit disappointing because I just opened up and I sent it back. It wasn't for me. Shin Megami Tensei 5. I opened it
Oh,
up
you
and
sent
it's
it back?
I didn't
Oh,
care for it. It did nothing for me. And I love
dang.
Persona 5. Persona 5 was my jam. I sunk over 200 hours into Persona 5. And I
Yeah.
put in about 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours into Shin Megami, and I was like, this is not doing it for me. I don't know.
It's a lot darker than the Persona games.
Yeah. So it was disappointing when I opened it up and I was like, well, there's the cartridge. Nothing else is inside of the Switch
Yeah.
case. So I don't know.
It's very rare. Fortunately, people like Limited Run and Super Rare
Hmm.
Games and Strictly Limited, they cater to they're the equivalent of boutique cinema with like Arrow and Criterion, but for
Hmm.
gamers. And they pack
Hmm.
in a lot of cool stuff. I don't care for the keychains and art cards or whatever nonsense, but I do like that they add an instruction booklet or a mini art book or something like that. But check this out. Speaking of games, here's a new one I got. I got Wonder Labyrinth. This is a prequel to Record of Lodos War.
Hmm.
That's it. There's no
I know.
interior art whatsoever. I was so bummed
Oh.
out. I'm like, man, I mean, I love the cover because she's one of my favorite anime girls, if you will,
Hmm.
feel it. And then the back, this is the Japanese version, by the way, but you can play it in English. Wonderful pixel art. It's very reminiscent to Symphony of the Night, by the way.
Cool.
Sort of a Metroidvania game, but with Record of Lodos War characters. And I was expecting at least interior artwork, and nope, just the cartridge. That's it.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
It-
So, some
Man,
more.
next month I was looking at it today and I was like, Jesus Christ, next month is gonna destroy my wallet. It's so we're getting Dying Light.
February? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting Dying Light 2 next month. We're getting the New
Mm-hmm.
Horizon, and we're getting Elden Ring. So I'm like,
Elden Ring.
something's gonna have to give. Of those three, something's gonna have to give, and I think it might have to be Dying Light and Horizon for a little bit because I have to play Elden Ring when it first comes out.
And I think there was a. I'm still not used to 2022. I keep searching stuff as 2021. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Give me a second. Uh,
It's and on top of that is Valentine's Day.
yep. What's the freaking game now? I thought a Triangle Strategy was coming out in February, but that's March. That's the RPG that people are excited for. Splatoon. What was this? There was a Switch game that comes out in February that a lot of people were excited for.
Hmm.
Switch games, February 2022. Uh, okay, let's see. We got Pokemon Arceus in this month.
Right.
Uh,
I'm waiting on that. I want to see how that plays out as far as reviews, and because it
Yeah.
looks like it could go really bad.
Life is Strange True Colors comes out in
Mm.
February. A lot of people want that. Not me, but just saying. Is that it? Well, that was disappointing, gang. That's all I got here on. Oh no, no, wait, there's more. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm reading the list here, and it's a bunch of stuff that is not going to top PlayStation stuff like Elden Ring and Horizon. So let's ignore that. Best thing about Valentine's Day is the chocolate. I have no guilt. There you go.
Hey, did you see that Mobius got delayed? Morbius?
I laughed because now it's April 1st, which is great for jokes, but I assume it's because Spider Man is still making money, and they don't want Morbius to get, uh, you know, put down by the Spider Man movie and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. That's the reason.
I mean, it was supposed to come out this month, right? January? Was it? Right. So
Yep.
it was supposed to come out this
It,
month, and we've um we've mentioned this before, but January is typically a dump month
mhm.
for most movie companies where they have no faith in the films that they're putting out, so they just dump them in January because nobody really is going to the movie theaters. Everybody's just kind of getting over the holidays, and financially, everybody's kind of recuperating. So they're just like, yeah, throw it in January. We know it's not going to do well. So Morbius was originally supposed to be in January. Now it's in April. It might be. Who knows? Maybe it's
Yeah.
more promising than what we thought. I don't know.
Plus, they also said it's going to be longer than Venom by like 18 minutes, which is not
Oh
that big of a thing to celebrate. It's
no,
an
no,
hour
it's not.
and 40 minutes, hour 48 minutes, something like that.
Oh God.
That's dumb. I mean, we've already society has already we already accustomed to 2 hour films. Why do we need to go back to a 90-minute film? Like for in the case of Venom, I get you. You know, I get it. But Morbius, I think, could lend itself well to a 2 hour drama, action,
Mhm.
suspense thing. I don't know. I saw it, and that has me worried that it's not going to be that great of a film. Just sort of a generic action movie with a, which I know. Let's be honest, that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be pretty generic vampire action, but hopefully it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want Amazing Spider-Man 3 Sony. Maybe it'll happen one day.
fingers
Um,
crossed.
yeah. So, Book of Boba Fett. Let's talk about that. You didn't watch episode 2 yet.
Yeah, but it's cool. You can spoil it. I don't mind.
There's nothing. There's not a whole lot to spoil because the format so far is more of catching up with the character in
Mhm.
flashbacks, and you get a huge chunk of both episodes dedicated to how Boba Fett's back instead of progressing the story. Because the real time story is him overtaking command of Mos Eisley and all that stuff, right? Because
Right.
Jabba's no longer there, and he got rid of Fortuna, so now he's the. And I hate to wait a minute. Let me put this just in case. Spoilers for Book of Boba Fett. There's nothing to spoil, honestly. Um, they started using Daimyo in the show, and I thought that was kind of cringy, to be honest,
Mhm.
because I don't know. And I get like Lucas was heavily inspired by Japanese cinema and samurai and stuff like Hidden Fortress and blah blah blah. But Daimyo is a feudal lord from ancient Japan. Why why are we using that word in a galaxy far far away? It's kind of weird. Also, that one alien representative with the red face and the tentacle, the two things,
Mhm.
I found it really weird weird to hear him talk straight up normal English voice. I get really upset by that because if they're alien creatures, at least give me some type of accent. I was just
Yeah.
not buying it. I just saw an actor speaking his lines. I didn't quite buy into that.
I
Um,
okay, so I thought the first episode again, I haven't seen the second one. I thought the first episode was good, but it didn't have enough of a I'm still gonna watch it and go through with it. It didn't have enough of a hook for me to really stay super interested in it. And I mean, when you look back and go and watch that first episode of Mandalorian, right? That hook of when you find out, oh shit, there's another Yoda or there's another Yoda species out there and it's a baby. That
mhm.
was a great hook. I was all in. I was like, damn, okay, I need to see where this goes. And this one's like, okay, well, I mean, we're just kind of seeing a dude chilling. We're getting a little bit of his backstory, and now he's trying to run his business. So I'm like, okay, there's Pawn
Yeah,
Stars.
but he goes back. I love that it's called Book of Boba Fett because it has multiple chapters and pages, obviously, and we go back and see how he escaped, and many
Mm,
callbacks to the prequel era and to the original trilogy, which I really like. Um, I think the acting is fine, nothing too outlandish for my taste, just fine.
mhm.
Yeah, but I'm excited because I'm a huge fanboy for the character, so I'm okay
Yeah,
with what we're getting. And obviously, the character's older, so we're not going to get like a super high speed Boba Fett doing crazy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Tamara
yeah.
Morrison, he's a older uh, actor at this point, and I'm okay
Right.
with that. It's sort of like that slow paced western that's slowly simmering.
Hmm.
And this, I do want to mention. I'm not going to reveal who it is for everybody that's not watched the new one. Episode 2 had the first live action appearance of a comic book Star Wars character.
Hmm.
That scene was extremely badass, short lived, but really badass. I was so happy when I saw that. It's
Okay.
modern from the modern Marvel stuff in comics for Star Wars.
Cool. All right. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I haven't even been spoiled about it, which I'm surprised. I'll probably finish this live stream and then go ahead and watch it.
Yeah,
Um. Also, maybe it was just my expectations and reading some of the extended stuff and everything like that. Seeing Boba Fett kind of not necessarily as a pacifist, but more less run and gun than what I thought this would be, and more, I guess, diplomatic, where he's like, no, I'm not going to rule through fear. I'm going to rule through respect. Like, huh, okay, this is different than what I
my dude,
thought.
the dude's changed his ways.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was different than what I thought, and it's not a bad thing necessarily. It just caught me off guard. Originally, I was like, man, this is gonna be a badass Boba Fett. He's gonna be kicking ass, breaking down door. Oh no, he's just talking his way through a lot of this stuff. All right, okay, this is a bit different. I don't hate it, but I'm like, oh, all right, this is different. Um, Also, I just love the fact that remember last year when he showed back up, it was like, ah, dad bod Boba Fett. Like, no, the dude's in great shape. There's a
yeah,
scene without him, where he doesn't have a shirt on. I'm like, oh no, this dude, either he got in better shape or he's just always been in great shape.
yeah. I like Raphael says that he hopes they stop the flashbacks. I think they will, but obviously, I think it's the classic setup of the flashback and the current story eventually uh, meeting towards the climax of the show and all that stuff. But I think it'll slow down next couple episodes, probably.
See, I liked it. I like the I like the flashback stuff. I love the fact that they opened up with him inside of basically the Sarlacc pit, and you're seeing because we've seen if you've read some of the comics and seen some of the stuff, he gets out of it, and they make it awesome the way he's trapped in there and he uses his flamethrower gauntlet, and I just love the fact that Patton Oswalt called it years ago on Parks and Rec how he would come out of the sand. If
Yeah,
you follow
saw that.
Patton Oswalt on Twitter and if you've seen the skit that he did on Parks and Rec, it is
Yep.
word for word how he gets out with you have to watch it. It's hilarious how he was spot on with it.
Oh yeah. Kenny, liking the Book of Boba Fett so far. Liked episode 1, and no spoilers. Episode 2 was all right. They go in on episode 2. You remember his appearance on when he first shows up in Mandalorian with the rags and the staff and all that stuff. So in
Mm-hmm.
episode 2, you see how that happens. How he got all the cool swag uh,
Okay, cool.
for Dad. Uh, and yeah, not much to spoil. It's a pretty straightforward show. I think the acting's fine. The choreography is not going to be the most outlandish thing because of the nature of the main character being older, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Boba Fett's more about shooting than actual fist fighting. So I expect some cool gunplay in the climax of the show.
Yeah. How many episodes is this? Is this another 6 episode series?
6 episodes, yes.
Okay, I'm down for this. I mean, I'm down for the 6 episode stuff. I personally, I think they learned from a lot of the Netflix stuff where the Netflix Marvel shows would just go 12, 13 episodes and it would be way too long. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that Disney's like, no, we've got a 6 to 8 episode story we want to tell, and that's the story we're going to tell. And that's it. It's great. I love it. I think it works, and it doesn't drag out.
hmm Uh, Cassian Spring. I don't know the dates. Sorry, Ed man, but I think Mandalorian for sure is going to be fall. I don't know if it's Cassian or Obi Wan that debuts first.
Yeah.
I need to check on that. But out of all of that, I'm excited for Obi Wan just to see Hayden back and for him
Yeah.
to get another shot at Darth Vader.
Yeah, same. Obi-Wan is probably the one that I'm the most excited for out of the
Yep.
next few months. I loved Mandalorian, but for me, I don't know. It felt like they kind of wrapped up their story. I mean, I can assume where they're gonna go the next season, considering Mando now has that staff of the Jesus. I can't even remember the name of the people, but he's got that staff now, so he's kind of the leader of
The
these people.
yeah, Dark
You know what I'm
Saber
talking
thing.
about? Yeah. So I can assume they're
Uh,
going that way. Um, but I kind of felt like they wrapped up that story pretty well for me.
you wrapped up the main intrigue for those first 2 seasons with one of the
Mm-hmm.
characters, small character. I don't want to ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's going to be interesting, like you said, where they take the story. And for Boba Fett, we'll see. We'll come back like 2 weeks, or yeah, 2 weeks from now, and we'll talk about 2 more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, any last questions that you guys might have? Because we're about to wrap up. I can't be on for too long. Sorry. Um, I want to remind everybody that, of course, this episode is brought to you by the fine folks at InStockTrades.com, the official sponsor for Omnibros Live here on the Omnibus Collectors Network. If you want to buy Star Wars books because you like the Book of Boba Fett, you got to head out to InStockTrades.com. Weekly deals from 50 to even 60% off. You can get your favorite omnibus, hardcover, trade paperback, manga, whatever it may be. You get it at InStockTrades.com. Up to I already said that, but I'll say it again, up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts tack on an extra 2% to that. And if you order $50 or more in your collected editions order, you get free shipping. Fantastic customer service and wonderful packaging at InStockTrades.com. All right. I saw that Ahsoka might be spring 2023. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not the biggest fan of them. Sorry.
Mm.
I'm indifferent towards that character.
Hmm.
Um, Disney Plus Star Wars seems to be going into a war with Thrawn. That'd be pretty badass
That would be cool.
if that's like
Um,
the end game for the Disney Plus Star Wars side of things.
so, as somebody who has never seen a lot of the animated stuff in the last few years for Star Wars, would you recommend I watch Bad Batch, or do I need to have the context of a lot of that stuff beforehand?
I think you need a small chunk of the stuff before Rebels and the later part of Clone Wars to
Okay.
fully enjoy it. And I'm such a bad fan. I never finished Rebels, and I never finished Clone Wars, but they
Wow.
were good. I saw like more than half of them, so I can recommend it. I just didn't finish them all.
Yeah,
And
everything
I got to
that
be honest, the
um,
Star Wars fandom kind of kicked me out of the Star Wars stuff because
oh
they
yeah.
get really vocal about the movies and what they hate, and it just made me not want to care about Star Wars. So it wasn't until like this with Boba Fett and all that stuff that I'm like back into the whole mythos.
Hmm.
So NFL dude says just watch that final season of Clone Wars. I
Okay.
would say the final two seasons just for the hell of it, because then you
Yeah.
watch the final one and you're like, I want to see more episodes. Watch the final two. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that I've heard is if you didn't care for the prequels, that the Clone Wars and Rebels and everything, they fill in a lot of the stuff that makes the prequels much more enjoyable.
Joe, Lou, I have a link that tells you exactly what you need to watch in terms of Clone Wars, so you don't have to watch it all. It's just too much.
Okay, cool. I'll take that.
The last four episodes of Clone Wars are a masterpiece. Nice. There you go.
All right.
Raphael watched three episodes of Bad Batch and didn't click with him. Too much blasphemy. Man, I'm sorry, but like you got to admit, Star Wars fans are some of the saltiest fan base on the face of the earth. When the sequel trilogy came out, that whole experience, yes, I recognize that the movies aren't great, but I just couldn't take it. And I had to log off from the internet and not read anything Star Wars because it was so freaking negative about a movie. And I'm
It's
not that type of person. I recognize it's a fictional movie,
yeah.
fictional characters doing fictional things. I don't need to get so upset about it.
See, I used to think so. I used to honestly think there was no pleasing them until Mandalorian came out, and I was like, oh wow, like this is pretty universally loved. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely surprised that the dislike is very minor. Um, And the thing is, I think Star Wars is a thing that is attributed to your childhood, and you're going to love what came out during your childhood because that was probably your first exposure to watching Star Wars in the theater with a crowded audience. So you'll always have that memory that's associated with you.
Hmm.
Where you and I, we love the original trilogy because and I'm talking about the 1970s ones because that's probably our first exposure, and then there's a generation of kids that grew up with the Clone Wars and with the the prequels, and that was their stuff. Just like there will be a generation of kids that grew up with Rey and Finn and all these characters that just came out with this last generation, and they love those films.
Hmm.
So I think there's just no winning with certain members of that fandom.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the TV show and just not reading comments made me jump back in, and I've been having fun with the show so far.
Mhm.
I was gonna say something about Star Wars movies, but I can't remember what it was. My first movie, Star Wars movie, was it was not Episode One. It was this. You remember when they did the special editions of the original trilogy, and they re-released them in theaters for
Yeah,
like a limited time.
I remember that.
I saw. I don't know if I saw the whole trilogy, but I saw one or two of them in theaters, and that was awesome to get to see that. And then the hype of Episode One and all that stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
or maybe it was the other way around. When did that came out? The remastered or special edition.
Was that the early 2000s, late 90s?
Special edition theater release. Google is amazing. May no, not this. Damn it! I take back what I said about Google. Uh, does the chat know? And man, you're a Star Wars fan. Let me know before I wrap up. You got like 5 minutes before I wrap up.
Was this the
Uh,
version before Lucas started tampering with the films? Or was it because the last set that I remember that came out before Lucas really tampered with the films was a DVD set, if I'm not mistaken.
Special edition was prior to Phantom Menace. I have a very vivid memory in my head of wanting to go see Empire Strikes Back in
Mm-hmm.
theaters because of it was a special edition, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember my folks not wanting me to go because they're like, "It's an old movie. You have the VHS at the time. The VHS, like, why do you want to see?" I'm like, "But it's a special edition. It's the first time I'll be able to see Star Wars in a movie theater because I didn't have that experience because when I grew
Mm-hmm.
up, the movies already came out." So I remember watching Empire Strikes Back uh, on the big screen. Special edition was 97 or 98. What was the question? Did the special editions for the original trilogy come out in theaters for a limited time before Phantom Menace? Because, like everybody else, I remember when Phantom Menace came out and I saw it
Mm-hmm.
opening weekend. I remember
Same.
that.
Yeah,
And
same
I
thing
got
for
the
me.
Taco Bell cup. You remember those? The big cup. Yep. And I saw the movie and loved it and did not realize how bad it was until much later.
It's okay. So, of the three prequels, I will say the third one is the best. And I think that third film is what Lucas was his original idea and what he really wanted to get to was in that third film. Because I don't think the third prequel film is that bad. I think it's actually pretty solid because I
I
saw it last
yeah, I love it. It's a lot of fun.
year. Yeah.
I think the worst is episode two, because at least
Yes.
episode one retained a lot of elements from the original that people like, with the
Hmm.
animatronics and the practical stuff. Episode two just went too heavy on green screen and blue screen and white screen and all the screens.
And the politics and just
Yeah,
nobody gives a crap about. So, plus that Darth Maul scene in episode one still kicks ass. When John Williams' score kicks in, when that it's still fucking amazing. It's still great,
yep,
man.
yep, yep. Always a crowd pleaser. Yes, they did. They were pretty good. I think no one I knew disliked them. Yeah. So yeah, my first time watching Star Wars in theaters was Empire Strikes Back Special Edition. There you go. Have you seen the Star Wars Clone Wars micro series? Is that the animated one, the 2D one? Because if that's the one you're talking about, yes, that was awesome. Yeah, Tartakovsky Clone Wars is the goat.
That's great stuff, man. Yeah,
Yep.
no,
Is
it's
is that that's no longer canon though, right? Because it got replaced by the CG Clone Wars, I think.
is it not? Because you have Mace Windu versus
Wait,
Grievous, and that explains why Grievous is such a asthmatic in I think it's the second movie. Um, I remember being hyped as hell because I was like, "Yo, Grievous is a bad motherfucker. I can't wait to see him." Oh my god, what happened to Grievous? And in the film, he's just
according to something here that I'm reading online, it says, as far as official canon is concerned, the Clone Wars micro series is not canon. However, it is part of the Legends continuity. Also, the Clone
damn
Wars
it.
animated show, blah 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 blah. Yeah,
So wait, why is he fucking asthmatic in the second movie? Because
maybe they kept that part, or just it goes on. They don't explain it or something. I don't know.
yeah, dude. Because if you watch that Clone Wars series, Grievous is frightening because he takes on not just like multiple Jedi, and he kicks their ass.
Yep.
And I love the whole concept that he's a Jedi hunter and he collects the lightsabers of the Jedi he kills.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm looking here at Reddit. Why is Grievous coughing and wheezing all the time? A lot of people believe that the cough comes from Mace Windu crushing his chest in the Clone Wars show, and they're
Mm-hmm.
partially right. The crushing certainly made the cough much worse, just in time for Revenge of the Sith. The actual explanation here, though, is that the Clone Wars was made before all the production details for Grievous were settled on for Revenge of the Sith, and once Grievous's movie voice and cough were settled on, John DiMaggio had already been portraying Grievous in Clone Wars for some time. The crush was introduced as a means of bridging the gap. But
Man.
it's the problem is the tech that keeps him alive is imperfect, so he suffers an irritating cough. Um, the cough is there because George Lucas came into work with bronchitis while they were finalizing his design and figuring out how he should sound for the movie. So they recorded George coughing and threw it in. The idea being that it would communicate to the audience very quickly that Grievous is not entirely a robot, since there is no reason for a robot to cough. It emphasizes that he's a cyborg.
Oh my god.
And foreshadows
Stop.
Anakin's own cybernetic makeover.
Stop.
No kid
Just,
got that in theaters. They just
no,
saw a freaking robot coughing. That's it.
uh,
I have no idea. Sorry about Ventress. I don't know. I thought it was
man.
canon because CGI. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's because I remember them saying that the CGI Clone Wars show is the one that's canon to
I
the
don't know.
new Star Wars canon thingamajig. But speaking of thingamajig, that's about it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I have to go. I'm sorry. We'll be back tomorrow with a manga night, going over the previews for January. A lot of cool manga that's coming out. We're gonna go over that, possibly hauls and reads, all that fun stuff. So thank you to the chat. You guys are wonderful as always. And this is my favorite comment of the night. Thank you, Kryptonian. Clone Wars is better than Clone Wars. That's right. So yeah, thank you, chat. Thank you to InStock Trades for sponsoring Omnibros Live. Thank you to everybody watching later. Leave your comments in the comment section what you thought of the Book of Boba Fett, the first two episodes, and what you thought about arcades and AMC getting Sentai, all that fun stuff. Leave those comments down below. Comics Guide, where can people find you on the internet?
Comics Guide 101 on Twitter and Comics Guide 101 on YouTube. I think that's it.
Yeah, sorry.
You're
Patreon,
good.
guys. Subscribe. So that's it. That's all we got. Goodbye. Thank you, everybody. I'm looking for the
Good
freaking
night.
button. Give me a second.
Good
There
night,
it is.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night.